frame. The upper one is the higher flying Continental. The lower one is the one that does a fake contrail. So you can obviously see that the fake contrail flyer is at a lower altitude, yet it manages the fake contrails, whereas the Continental never does. I don't know if it's showing up on the film that well, but I see a rainbow. Now, this one is the interesting one in that it's kind of twisting like a helix. I've never noticed an ordinary cloud do that. Dispersal patterns are kind of different. They're still laying new ones. Get there just above my horizon. Newly laid. Here's an observation for you. England pitched the closed-circuit TV system claiming that it would protect the public. Well, as recent circumstances show, they're more about protecting the police than the public. I mean, really good video of the man who was recently died as the result of an encounter. A non-protester merely walking home from work, and they got great video of him walking up to the police, followed by good video of him walking away from the police. What they somehow couldn't seem to find was their own videotape of him tossing him down on the ground and basically rupturing something inside him. So the White House has acquired the obligatory official canine, which, after having been vetted and found to have only a minor taxing problem, will soon have a prominent place in the hearts of every child and sensitive, caring adult, or there must be something wrong with you. And in coming tough times and executive mistakes or official malfeasance will be trotted out to diffuse, distract, and dissuade us from whatever. Speaking of bones, Al-Qaeda, now conveniently in Pakistan, has always had only two to pick with us. Our 100% support, both material and spiritual, of the murderous criminals controlling Israel, and the presence of a foreign, mostly Christian, military troops in Muslim countries. So our present presidential position is a mealy-mouthed, toothless opposition to settlement expansion in the occupied West Bank, accompanied by another $30 billion worth of military hardware and $900 million to rebuild Gaza if they first bow down in supplication to the Jewish state. That's on the one hand. On the other hand, an increase of the military troops occupying Afghanistan while pushing more death and destruction of the civilian population with the predator drones and the so-called surgical strikes, which should more properly be labeled as medical malpractice, since only 10% of their strikes hit the intended target. Can you imagine your doctor saying the treatment has a 1 in 10 chance of fixing your problem, charge you in advance with no refunds, and he's the only doctor you can use? The issue in Somalia is still covered in terms of white and black. We're the good guys, we got morals, we've been forced to push them back. Without a shred of evidence, the pundits wish to tie these actions to Al-Qaeda, even if it is a lie. Still, no mention in the media why these former fisher folk are reduced to buying groceries. Their former livelihood was dealt a killing stroke. The once rich fishing fields just off Somalia's coast were turned into a toxic dumping ground. So who's wronged whom the most? In a world where justice is decided by who owns the bigger gun, where the biggest thieves claim profits, leaving devastation as they cut and run, it is telling how different the headlines should read. Former fishermen forced to extracting tribute to feed their families, murdered by mercenaries disguised as U.S. SEALs. Corporate thieves demand public subsidies of insurance giants in order to maintain stranglehold and profits in the medical fields, fearing they may have to bear the burden of paying the real cost of operations. And no longer able to dump their pollution freely, energy corporations have increased their legal bribery and lobbying efforts to obtain special deals. The Ponzi scheme, more commonly referred to as Wall Street, and the house of cards called the financial service industry, are once again demanding bailouts, and true to form, at double the cost of the previous one. Hey, they need money to continue to steal. Of the 60 predator drone strikes in Pakistan, only 10% hit their intended targets. As a counterinsurgent campaign dedicated to winning hearts and minds, the words counterproductive lacks the proper feel. But since American media is in large part simply the public relations portion of the military, financial, medical, and congressional puppets of those select few who are unified only by having inherited their wealth or allowed to profit by the subjugation of the rest of us. Don't hold your breath expecting them to willingly change their style. Now, into the circle 5.
To the south of me.